everyone, and welcome to Metaphysical Happy Hour. I am your host, Cassie Clayton.
And I am your co-host, Tracey Escobar, also known as the Red Couch Medium. Hi, Cassie.
Hello.
Yeah, so we had some technical difficulties starting out. That's why we're kind of running a little 5 minutes behind. So bear with the internet gods that everything's going to be okay today.
Yes.
But otherwise, we have a really good show for you. Cassie, who's on tonight?
So we have Cheryl Hill-Lavelle, and she is going to be talking about numerology with us tonight.
Ooh, how exciting. So yeah, if anybody's listening currently, put your questions in the comment section and we will try to have room at the end of the show to answer all of your questions and pick her brain. So, but without further ado, let's bring on Cheryl.
Absolutely. Welcome, Cheryl.
Hey, Cheryl, how are you?
Very excited to be here, and I'm sorry we had all the technical difficulties we did.
It's
apologize
okay.
to everybody who's listening.
That's not a problem. We already got people coming in. Hi, Tammy. Hi. Well, welcome to the show. I don't want to butcher your last name. How do you say your last name?
Hill-Lavelle.
Hill-Lavelle. Cheryl Hill-Lavelle. And Cheryl, where are you from? Where are you located?
In the Muskoka area in Ontario, Canada.
Oh, nice. Someone from Canada is on the line today. Yay. And so I understand you do numerology, and we're going to talk all about numerology today. But I always ask my guests, like, for me, metaphysical journey didn't happen until like I was 45. So I missed so much of my life. I want to know your story. What led you to the metaphysical world? Was it you were a kid? Did it come later in life? Like, what was your journey into this realm?
Well, being in my 70s now, my actually journey started when I was very young.
Did it?
In fact, it was because I had come into the world with a lot of confidence and enthusiasm and all the rest about life, but I had faced some parental abuse in later years, so that eroded my confidence a lot. So the big thing was my journey started then, researching as much as I could about life and about why there were the injustices, why people were like they were. And one of the things that was the greatest help to me to build up my self-confidence, especially for business, was the numerology. And in this particular area that I've discovered about numerology is a little different than maybe most. And what it hones in on is the fact that through your birth date, which I can tell people about how they can figure a secret code to keep it a secret.
Yeah.
But through your birth date, you can discover what the actual purpose you chose for this lifetime and your talents. And I think it's really important these days that people discover how special they are. Because the world is really in need of people that can rise to their greatest potential, because that's how we're going to change things and improve things around the world.
And I think the journey of being a human is discovering what that purpose is and what you're supposed to be here for, right? Through the trials, tribulations, and just when did you know your purpose? Way back then?
Well, it was probably about 35 to 38 years ago that I discovered the numerology. And it was quite fascinating because it gave me, based on learning about my purpose and through that science, it gave me the confidence I needed to be very successful in business and do some incredible stuff in business beyond the norm. And and also for 20 years be the sole support of a family and everything else, a sole income earner. But that's because I'm an 8, which is the business number, which people will learn about the numbers a little bit about each. But, and it also and as you get into the area of numerology that I got into, it also exposed karmas and explained why the challenges we have in our life. It just answered so many questions. In fact, even why I chose my parents, because I didn't feel somehow that I had been with them in previous lifetimes. So
really? So that's one of my questions I was going to ask you. Number one, for the purpose of our readers and our listeners, what is numerology? Can we just get basic? What is it?
Well, it's an ancient science, much like astrology, except that numerology, of course, deals in numbers rather than planetary positions. And it gives some things that are very similar to astrology in the way of personality, but it really hones in on the purpose you chose for this lifetime and the talents that you have. And karma is learned through that science. And this is why over the years, religion and a lot of the powers that be that have been trying to keep secrets from us, why they've discouraged people from ever getting into it, because it has the reality of previous lifetimes, which we've had, whether people want to believe it or not.
Right.
And reincarnation and all that. And because it deals in karma, and through just studying about it or having a reading through it, you can discover information about previous lifetimes. And those are the things that have created some of the challenges for you in your life. So
I think it's so fascinating, right? What's the most I don't know a lot about numerology. My study is mediumship, but like, what are the numbers? What kind of things can you get from it? So I know there's a life path number. Is that correct?
Yeah, and the life path number may be the numbers that I'm revealing in for your life purpose.
Okay.
However, there's more information that I've gleaned from other sources that I've made actual, like, a one-page life purpose profiles, which are just hone in specifically on why you're here and the talents you have, the special talents you have to make your life a lot more successful and be able to do some incredible stuff. If you're and everybody, if I've looked over the years, all your movers and shakers, self-made millionaires, they're all certain numbers coming up. So this is a very, very accurate science. I've done thousands of people, all live rather than online, but
yeah, it's okay.
But it has been great because it's helped a lot of people find their careers and find their path in life, you know. So I'll explain a little bit about the numerology first off, because people probably, I had kind of encouraged people to bring paper and pen to take some notes, especially if they want to learn about friends and family, which you can through what I'm going to be describing.
All right, I'm letting you take over. Go ahead. Yeah.
But if you take your day, month, and year of birth and you total it up like old-fashioned addition. So, for example, if you were born in October 10th, 1960, the total would be 1980. So you're going to come out with a 4-digit number between 1900 and 2400. Giving that number publicly actually hides your birthday, because no one ever would be able to figure out your birthday. So it's great for call-ins and radio shows and things like this. Now,
so it gives you a 4-digit number, right?
It's a 4-digit number. It's
okay.
Because you take the full date of birth with including the year, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be 1900 and something or 2000 and something.
Okay.
That's really what it's going to be.
Okay. I got questions. I got questions. I know they have questions.
Well, once you have that number, then give me that number and I can tell you some special stuff about you right off the cuff. But what I'm going to be doing that number, so you can see how it's broke down. This is for people who want to, who are quick learners, I guess, and want to figure out about family and friends as well. I take the total. So say the total is 1980. Okay. And now I add each number up individually. 1 plus 9 is 10, plus 8 is 18. And then that's a 9. It breaks down to 9. Because the science of numerology runs from 1 to 9.
Okay.
And when you're doing a name analysis through numerology, which a private reading does, each letter represents numbers 1 through 9. But there are master numbers as well. That's why I don't want people to just give me their individual number, because there is 1 through 9, then there's some master numbers which are worth telling about: 11 and 22 and 33. And
can we
there's
use as an example?
Well, I'm going to cover all the numbers.
Because people are still stuck on how you get the total. Can we use my birth date as an example on how you got the total?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so my birthday is December 1st, 1970.
Okay, so it's 12 plus 1 is 13. And 13 plus 1970 is 1983.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, now once I have the 1983, what I do, but people don't have to do this, but once you have the 1983, then you're taking 1 plus 9 is 10, 18, 19, 20, 21. And 2 and 1 is 3.
Okay.
However, if I get the 4-digit total, I can then break it down, because there are some other numbers that are tests that people have, and I could probably tell them about that as well. So I prefer just to get the 4-digit number, then I can break it down myself.
Got it.
But I wanted to let people know how to do it in case they wanted to do it themselves. And then if they've taken notes a little bit about the numbers, then they can figure out family and friends.
Yeah, no, I think that helped. That helped. understand how to
Anyway,
add it all
I'm going
together.
to cover what these numbers mean now,
Okay.
and just a little bit about what you're going to hear about. There are 4 different power numbers within these 12 numbers. So there's 12 numbers the world shares. The
Okay.
higher or lower someone's number is makes them no better or worse than anybody else. So
Okay.
just keep that in mind. The 1, and I'll start out with each. So I'll just touch on just briefly each one so people get an idea of what these numbers represent. 1 would represent your born leader.
Okay.
That's someone with power. That's someone that is born to lead others in a positive way. Then you have your 2, which your 2 is all about self-surrender, about giving service to others, very family oriented. Then you have 3. They're that would be yourself, the
Yep.
born communicator. You're here to communicate with the written or spoken word. And I can go and elaborate on all of these.
Yeah.
The 4 is your hard worker.
Okay.
They make the greatest employees because they're generally very organized and methodical in the things they do. 5s, they're ones that have total choice. They can literally do everything because they've done it before in previous lifetimes. So they have total choice in this. 6 is your born teacher and advisor.
Okay.
And very family oriented. And 7 is your born psychic, which most adults as 7s don't always believe all their abilities, but they're loaded with them. But I can tell them how they can figure it out. 8 is another power number. That's your born business person or business leader.
Good. Yep.
And you'll find like 1s and 8s and 22s when I get to it. Those are power numbers that you're going to see among influential people, politicians, leaders. You'll see these numbers coming up all the time.
Okay.
9 is your destiny of completion. They're here to serve humanity in a major way, especially today.
Okay.
So they need to hear about their number. 11 is they're born psychic genius out to lunch. These are the special kids that are coming in these days. Because I went for 20 years, never ran into a single 11 until just in the last 10 years I've been starting to see them. So
what was the 10? I think we missed 10.
Yeah, is 1, breaks down to 1, right?
10 is 1. Yep.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then 22 is your sign of the millionaire. And they're loaded with power, but also it's the 11 and the 22 are both master numbers, meaning they don't have to go up, they don't have to live their full potential. They can go swing down to the lower digit, which 11 can be, take the role of the 2, and the 22 can take the role of the 4, and the 11 with the 2.
So interesting.
Anyway, so I just touched on all the numbers, and just let people know, if anybody hangs on to the end of all this, they will be able to get their own free life purpose profile, and I'll be able to tell you where to go to get it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. People are all interested. It's interesting. And then we have Kimberly. She says, I'm an 8, business person, many different careers, all in a health aspect.
Okay, well, then I could tell you a little bit more about your 8, Kimberly.
Yeah, please do.
Is the 8, like I say, is a born business person. They have power, so they have the drive, ambition, and leadership ability as well to be able to influence other people, and it just gives them a head start over another person for being successful in business. One of the things 8s have to learn is the value of spending money to make money, which all 8s have to learn. And a lot of 8s don't have a lot of patience. They want things like yesterday. I can relate to all this because I'm an 8.
You're an 8.
But they should look at what they can bring in the way of spirituality into their business. That's going to make things a lot more successful for them. And it's all about providing a service and not using people for your own ends. But they're loaded with power, and they can do some incredible stuff. They're here to manage, direct, maybe have their own business if they choose, because they have what it takes to be able to do that.
I think that's fascinating. We have Tammy Mahmood. I can always say that. 1980 should be mine if I did it correctly. So then that's 18. That's 8, 9. That's 9, right? If I did that right?
No, for yourself, Tracey, you were 1983 was your total. So that's a 3.
That was a 3.
So
Yeah, I was
breaks
talking about
down 21 down to 3. So you were the communicator, like I said.
Communicator, yeah. But we have Tammy.
Tammy
do you mind?
what was
Yeah,
her
she was.
number? 1980?
Yeah.
1980. So 10, 18. Yes, the 9, like I say, 9s need to hear this for sure. 9 is what's known as your destiny of completion. It This could be a last life for you. A lot of 9s tend to think they have fated bad luck, and it's not true at all. It's your higher self bringing you the circumstances and the tests to see if you understand unconditional love. It's all about unconditional love, and you're here to serve humanity in a major way. And I'll tell you, your ability to heal others and be helpful for people, knowing unconditional love is quite incredible, especially these days. What you can use if you're ever troubled is get into nature. Nature is a real rejuvenator for you. In fact, you can gather inspiration from the very wind itself. You're that connected. And also you can tie into the energy grid on this planet. So you can tell, like, if you go to a place where that doesn't feel right or feel good, honor that, because that's your intuition telling you that the place is not good. But it's important to stay positive, because you also have a self-healing within yourself, where if you're positive, you should never ever have a health problem. And if you ever do, you could heal yourself real quick, because you have that ability within you. But it's a matter of staying positive, and it's a matter of learning. Of course, all the lessons are all about unconditional love without judgment. And you're coming to psychic abilities, intuitive abilities, all those things will be heightened. And if you get it, then you don't really have to come back anymore and learn anything, because it's done. You can just come back to have fun.
I love that. Wow, I can relate to what you're saying, is what Tammy said. Nice. And so I'm a 3. I want to hear more about mine.
Okay, the 3 is those who are born to communicate with the written or spoken word. It's very common among actors, authors, poets, people in the media. You have a love of beauty. You have a lot of friends, get along with people really well. You tend with your friends, though, to gravitate to people you consider having some smarts because of that educational interest, because you're going to want the best education for your kids as well. And they say that 3s can do more than one career or occupation. You're very flexible and talented in a lot of different areas. But a lot of people will go in. If you've ever thought about writing a book, you might seriously think about it. A lot of famous authors have had that number. But you'll find these people a lot of times, there'll be artists, there'll be people in the media, those type of people. So, but it's all about communication.
Interesting.
And self-expression.
Yeah, I love that. Just so happens I have a book coming out, so there you go.
It's a very accurate science. It really is.
Yeah, this is some good stuff. We
So
have a lot of
people. Other people that want to know their number?
Yes, I have a Sandra Varelis. She gave you her birthday, so.
Oh, okay. So 6/4/1971. Yeah, I didn't think a lot of people would want to give that in the public, but anyways, that's good. 10, 11, 8. So that's 10, 18, 19. Okay, we got one with a test here too. Sandra, you are a born leader. I don't know if you know it or not, but you're here to lead others in a positive way. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of political leaders and major leaders around the world that are 1s, a very powerful sign. It's a master number. And
it's the 1, right?
Yes, the 1. And you're born to lead others in a positive way. And I can't stress the positive enough, because you do carry into this lifetime this 19 test. And how it was derived is when you break the numbers down, you get 19 before I get the 1. So that's where I was able to pick that up. And that has to do with, in a previous lifetime, there was an abuse of power. So you're going to be tempted to abuse it again. Now, what the reaction I've seen from people with that test, some people they kind of shy away from taking leadership roles and being as out there as they could be with things. And if that's your case, don't be afraid to. You have the power, potential, ambition, drive beyond the norm. You can do some incredible stuff, and you will be influencing a lot of people. That's why it's so important to keep it positive. Because if you fall back into what you had done in a previous lifetime, like I say, it could come back and my mother had the same number, same test, and it came back on her. So I saw that play itself out. So as long as you keep your leadership positive, you'll be fine. And the focus is on self-development, helping not only develop yourself, but helping others to self-develop.
Congratulations, Sandra. I think we have another person. Michelle Rock Jones wants her. I think this is fun. Yeah. Michelle.
Okay, and now I got a birthday again. So 6. So I
There's
just
some confusion, I'm telling you.
And that's 63. Okay. 11, 14, 8, 10, 18. Ooh, now we got a 22. Which could be a powerhouse or not. I'll tell you. The 10, 18, 11, 14. Remember when I said the 22 is a sign of the millionaire? Well, that's the potential that you have, Michelle. But whether or not you're utilizing it, there's no right or wrong here. It's a personal choice. You'll either pull to the full potential of the 22, make $1 million and do some incredible stuff, very powerful number, or you'll go down to the 4. And I will tell you, over the years and the hundreds of people I've done, most people are resonating more with the 4. So I'll explain a little bit about the 4 first, and then let you know there's a bigger potential. Your 4 is the one who makes the greatest employee, not employer. They, like I said, they're great for employers because they're usually reliable, dependable, hardworking. They're self-disciplined, they're planners, they're detail-oriented, family-oriented. Well, both of those can be family-oriented.
So we all know Michelle, so we're just smiling because we know her.
But the thing is, they may, in fact, they say 4s can work well for the military, and they say that you might even run your home like a boot camp. But you have a greater potential. And what I've found is the difference between whether you're living out more as a 4 than a 22 is your relationship to money. When you look at famous people who have done some incredible things, you'll see that they're generally all risk takers of some kind. And that's one thing that the 4 is not very good at. They're not ones to be found at the racetrack or gambling or anything like that. They're savers. They'll slowly get ahead, but they're not out there taking big risks. 22 is not afraid of spending money, not afraid of taking risks. In fact, Trump, I will say, is a 22, but he's not living his potential positively, I'll tell you, because there's a lot greater things that a 22 can do. But they say if you're a true 22, you can see 20 years ahead of your time. So they're visionaries as well. So it's up to you, and it really depends on your attitude about money, whether you're overly thrifty like the 4. And if you're overly thrifty like the 4, then I'd say from time to time, spend some money on yourself because you deserve it. Take a trip or something. So
there you go.
You have a lot greater.
I know it resonates, Michelle, but I hope it resonates. We have more people. Are you sure you want to keep going? You're good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, we have 30 more minutes we're good. Mary Thrower gave her date of birth too.
Okay, 6. I just run out of paper myself.
And Michelle did say, thank you. I bounce between 4 and 22. So there you go.
And some do. Yeah, some will. 10, 11. Like there's no right or wrong, whatever the choice is. So 10, 11, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that's a straight, Mary, you're a straight 4. So if employers knew about 4s, they really want to hire a mitt full of them. I could use one myself. Because they're very organized, they're regulated, it's all about, they have to focus on self-discipline. It's all about hard work, and they like I say, they'll slowly kind of get there. There hasn't been a lot of famous people with that number, and that's because, like I say, they tend to be very conservative. They're not one to gamble or take big risks, but they're great at organizational skills, and they make the greatest employees. Like I say, reliable, dependable, loyal employees. So they're hardworking, and they do a lot to help people like me who are very creative but kind of all over the place. Organization is not my big forte, so that's where well, I could always use a 4 myself. But again, you'll hear where you can get your own profile, and it will explain a lot more than I'm giving
It will.
you.
Yeah, we'll do that at the end. Cassie, I want to know your number.
Oh, okay.
Give us yours.
So I'm February 15th, 1984.
15th, 1984?
Yep.
Yes.
And then Whitney, we'll get you next, honey. We'll get you next. And you know, I didn't cut my hair. It's all straight. That's what happened. I had my hair did today.
If you can remember what I told Tracey, you're a 3 as well. Learn to communicate with the written or spoken word. So it's so interesting, the work that you do. It's all about communication, is it not? You know, and it's all about helping to empower people. And I wanted to give you guys kudos for that, for the work that you do, and hosting this show, because it's great to bring this insight and wisdom to people, you know, and to let people know how special they are. But you're both communicators. And I don't know if you took notes or anything, or mental notes when I was explaining it to Tracey, but there is a love of beauty there. You value education very highly. If not for yourself, you're going to want the best education for your kids. Very common among actors, authors, poets, people in the media. Have a lot of friends, can do more than one career or occupation, you know, all of that. So
Cassie, what did you go to school for? What did you get a degree in?
I did a double major in radio, TV, and advertising.
I think it's fascinating. I have to tell you, this stuff is
it is such an accurate science. Like I said, I've been doing it for 35 years now, and just regularly gifting the information to people, even as I meet them. And it is very accurate.
It's very accurate. We did a reading, I think last show, 2 shows ago. Someone did an astrological reading on me. And I can't tell you how fascinating and so on point that is, just on your birth date and where you were born and the time you were born. So this is like the science behind this is super fascinating. So kudos to you. I wish I knew all this stuff, but we have Whitney and she wants to get hers done too. So can you pull up Whitney's date of birth, Cass?
Yes.
We could do this the whole hour. I love this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. 11/1 and 1989.
All right, Whitney, this is for you.
Yes.
Oh, she thinks she's a 3 too.
I think so. 11/1, 9, 10, 11, 0. Yep, another 3. Did you? We
got another 3.
Did you hear, Whitney? So we have a lot of communicators online.
We do. I love that.
Yeah.
And good luck with that. Whitney, but I think Whitney works in that medical field. What do you do, Whitney? I forgot. I think she's in the medical field.
All about communication and and showing people and teaching self-expression. You know, how to express themselves, how to express yourself. That's really the focus in this lifetime too.
What other numbers?
And it was funny when you mentioned astrology. That's something that I had looked at, but I found it myself. I found it very, very complicated, because you have to look at all the different time of birth, and you have to look at all the different planets where they were. Numerology I found was so much simpler.
It is, right? Yeah.
Because it focused in on the areas that I was concerned about. Number one, why am I here? What talents do I have that I can utilize? And what problems am I going to have in my life, karma and everything else from previous lifetimes, you know, and that's what it really hones in on.
What number tells the karma part? Like
the karma is discovered through your given name at birth, and you have to it takes a bit of time for me to work it out, and I do that as a private session with people. But it seems when you're missing, like people don't understand, but we choose our own parents, right? We choose our own name, we choose our purpose, all of that we choose in spirit before we come. And the thing is, the given name at birth, that's where, if you have missing numbers, because every letter corresponds with a number, that's where you have karma. And all the readings that I've done, like most people have like 2, usually 3 karma or so. You know, you'll never get more than 5. And but these are things that you could basically say in layman's terms, something you screwed up on in a previous lifetime that you have to pay for this time. And they tell you in the explanation of it in a private session, they tell you about what you had actually done in a previous lifetime to create it. And you have chosen that karma in it so you can learn from it, right? And correct it and improve yourself. We're all on an evolutionary path, and all life is all part of that. We come down here because here in 3D is with fear and love and all the rest, the duality is the only place we can really learn and grow.
And grow from it.
Yeah. Because once we go back in spirit, we know everything, and then there's no challenge or anything. Here's the challenge, but I'll tell you, everybody that's here today, I'll give this to everybody. Everybody who's here today, there were billions and billions and billions of souls beyond who's here on this planet that wanted to come in, and we all had our hands up. And I'll tell you, there were billions that literally stepped aside to allow us to be here because they felt we would have the best chance of making a change on this planet.
Wow.
So hats off and kudos to everybody, because we're all part of it. We all have something unique that we can bring and contribute.
What does a reading look like? So if someone booked a reading with you, is that something you map out first? You talk on the phone? Like, give us an example.
Well, how I've normally been doing it now online, which is new to me, and like I said, I've had problems with my computer, so there's been delayed. However, I have Calendly now, and if I give my Calendly address, or if you give my Calendly address, which is on something I sent you, then people would just book what I do is book like a 20-minute or 30-minute call with people initially, because then if they go to Calendly, they can see all the different things that they can discover, because I have ones that are focused in on the numerology primarily. It has to do with business and success and running your own business and what tools you can utilize, and it's all about that. But then I also have ones for light workers or spiritual people to know more about spirituality, about evolution. I even have one for scientists. You'll see all the different things there. But as far as a reading in numerology, normally I would go through, like I'm kind of touching on the life purpose and everything. I'd include a life purpose profile with it, but I have to get, this is what that initial call is important, because I have to get not only their birth date, because there's another science of soul cycles that I can give people information about as well, but also their given name at birth, because then I can take the half hour to however long it takes to break down at all the numbers and break it all down and find out what the karma is and everything. So I have it all prepared for when we talk, and then I can give all that information to them about their karma, about extra talents they have, and all the rest that's discovered in there. Like for example, your name represents, there's another thing with the name, and especially too, that people perceive you differently based on your name. And if you do a change of name, that's why people's life changes all of a sudden, because people perceive you differently. And that's explained in the reading as well, because I find out if someone's changed a name because they got married or whatever. And so there's ways to manipulate things to help you get more successful.
I have to have a reading. Yep, that's it.
I also found out through numerology too that where you live also exerts there's a number breakdown for the place you live, and that exerts an influence on you as well. Not as strong as the life purpose profile, your destiny number, whatever, but it also affects things as well. So I know I can tell if a town or city is economically challenged just by its number.
Interesting.
Because this science permeates everything.
Everything, right?
Yes, it really does.
I love that. We had one more person. Jessica, we'll get to you in a second. Someone wanted something about her daughter, Tammy.
Yes. Tammy.
Her number, birthday, 6/20/2003.
6/20. Yeah, I really feel, that the people should, get this information about the youngsters, because there's a lot of gifted kids coming in today, and they're going to be doing some incredible stuff. And it's really good to understand. That's why when you have 2 or 3 kids in a family, or 4 or 5, whatever, how they'll all be different.
We're all different.
There's a reason for it all.
I'm going to have to buy me a numerology book.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Fascinating.
Okay, she's going to be a 4, so she's not going to be one to like some of the power numbers to push. Okay, very family oriented. Just a sweet kid. This is, I would say, as a child, that Forrest would be. But again, very organized, methodical. You might find how she's, when she gets 2003, yeah, when she's playing with toys or whatever, how she might be very organized and that with all that. But it's all about being a worker. And
So have good work ethic. Yeah.
Yeah, and be one to be a saver. Again, she's not going to be a risk taker of that. She doesn't have the power, so I wouldn't be pushing her. Like, for example, in my own case, in my own family situation, I found out why I chose my parents. I found out why I was a firstborn, because I was a firstborn, and I was the only one in my family that had a power number, and which is good and was so needed, because the parent situation I had where there's some abuse, I got the brunt of that. I mean,
yeah,
they were supposed to be grooming me to marry Prince Charles, and it's not like I'd like a guy like that at all. And when I married a mechanic, it was so disappointing to my family.
How hilarious.
Yeah, but it's an interesting just how much the science reveals, and actually a lot of the ancient sciences. It's just one piece of the puzzle for people, and I think I'm hoping that people are on more of an exploratory path to really find out truth, because it has all been hidden from us on purpose, because it helps to empower us and enlighten us, and it'll make our life so much better. It really will.
No, I agree with you. I felt so lost until I started my journey and just understanding the bigger truth about everything. Like when things happen, I just roll with it now. It's just such a difference in perspective and how you see things, right? Jessica Pittman, her birthday, everyone's willing to give their birthday to you,
Yeah,
Cheryl.
okay.
All right. 10/18/1979.
10/18/1979.
Yep. Jessica.
17, 10/19.
Good question, Michelle. I'll ask her next.
Yes. And hi, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
Okay, now there's another 8. Born businesswoman. You have your own business, Jessica. But you definitely have the power and the ability and the head start over other people to be successful in business. A lot of very successful people, Norman Vincent Peale, Pierre Jardin, a couple that come to mind, that were 8s. Have to learn the value of spending money to make money, though. But you're loaded with, power and potential. Business, the world of business, politics, wide open doors for you. And it's all about managing, delegating, and utilizing your power. I know women tend although that's changing now, but slowly. But, women have never had quite the opportunity as men have for getting ahead. However, that number does help. I worked for 20 years with a very patriarchal organization. I ended up becoming the first only international organization, and I ended up being the first, I was heading towards to being the first woman manager in their 150-year history. But then after I became it, I found out there was one. She didn't last very long back in 1950. So, however, I did open the doors for a lot of women, but it was, I had to do so much because the way business has been. And that's why I wrote the book I wrote too, is exposing a lot of the problems that have been inherent in people getting ahead. And
yeah, I want to talk about the book too. We're going to talk about that. But because you just did Jessica, it's just a question. When you have a reading with someone and you find out their number and like, this is your potential, but they're doing something totally different. Like, how do you navigate that? What do you tell them? Like, Jessica, aren't you a teacher? Does that mean she should be like a leader in her school? Like, I guess, like, what are you doing if you're different?
No. For example, a teacher, most of these are generalized enough that it's the essence of what it is. For example, as a communicator, you can write books, you can be an artist, you can communicate through art, you can, so you're not honed into a specific occupation. The teacher advisor, the same thing. There's a lot of people that don't work as teachers, but they are advisors, and they're helping people in different occupations. So you can apply these to any kind of occupation, but it's showing you where your strengths are and where your talents are.
Jessica should be a principal.
Well, actually, it reminds me of a relative I know that I had told years and years ago about. They were kind of in a quandary with regard to what to do with their career and where to go and that, and they were a born teacher and advisor. And once they heard their destiny number or their life purpose number, that helped propel her right into schooling, and now she's a principal of a high school. So, right up the top. So it does help to really know what because these are purposes that you chose for this lifetime. Yeah. And it's based on what you wanted to experience and utilize, No,
I get it. Jessica says, Tracey, in our last talk, you told me to start a side hustle. Yes, because you have the potential. Go do it, girl. All right, we have Tina Godden.
Yes.
Tina. 7/18/1974.
7/18/1974.
Yeah. I could do this all night. This is so interesting.
10/19/28. Now there's another one, born later, 19, but there's no 19 test showing at this point. Now sometimes you can get it showing up in the name, but there's no 19 test, so that means that more chance that your leadership will stay positive and you won't get too demanding or ruthless about your own way. But you're going to be influential for a lot of people. Ones are pretty independent souls too. They're not really comfortable having tons of people all around them. They need their space. And but it's all about self-development, not only for yourself, but helping others to self-develop. And but you've got the power, the ambition, the drive to do some incredible stuff as a leader and influence a lot of people. So keep it positive and you'll be fine. And again, I'm just touching on a little bit of what's in these page reports that everybody can get free if they hang on.
Yep, we're going to tell you at the end. I can't wait for everybody to get it. But let's talk about your book really fast, because you did write a book. Yes?
Yes.
How long did it take you to write a book?
7 years ago, I started because I had accumulated so much information about life, what life was all about.
Yeah.
Literally everything. I mean, how we got here, what we're doing, because I was seeing a lot of things in business and in life that just didn't make sense. People were pointing fingers, making judgments of other people and everything. And there was so much injustice in the world, and corruption I saw as well, which now people are starting to see because we're in that time frame to do that. So my whole life, it's been 50 years of research. But what happened was, the reason that I don't consider myself a writer, I'm a 2-finger typist, and I have to look at the letters as I type and then look up to see if I've spelt it right. So, however, the first 5 chapters were channeled, and that came out rather fast.
Okay.
And that's why I knew it was channeled. And what it's doing is it showed what happened on this planet 2,000 years ago.
Okay.
And as you read what this race had done, it explains everything that's happening today.
Really?
In fact, and it's amazing, because so I didn't want to leave people in the fear of all that was set up and by whom and everything else like that. So then I got into and I wanted to take people's finger off pointing at other people and other races and everything else. So I took, in the book, it basically takes the finger off the human race, puts it onto an alien race who started it all.
Okay.
But then as the book goes on, it brings the finger back to us, because we invited them in and we have gone along with their systems. Okay. So, but it then gets into who we really are, what our potentials are, the fact that we are spiritual beings, the fact that we all have God inside, all of those things. It could be very contradictory or what's the word? Anyways, controversial. So, and by the time the book came out, COVID, the C word had hit, yeah. And because I made the mistake of sending the book to a leader who at one point was good but has now turned, I've kind of been censored. My book's been banned, or they're trying to stop sales of it and everything. Yeah. So I'm on because it's exposing too much truth, and they didn't read it, because if they'd read it, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. However, they did read the part on COVID, because when COVID hit, all of a sudden Spirit started sending me all this information on COVID. I saw the Rockefeller reports, how they planned this whole thing, and all of it just started coming to me. So I had to put that in the book. So I put that in as a postscript. But that would have been enough that the powers that be, if they'd have read that, they'd realize I have too much truth, and that's the stuff that gets censored today. So it is getting hard.
You're telling the truth when you're getting censored. Is that what it is?
Yeah, well, truth is being censored big time these days. I mean, I'm hearing all the time from doctors and scientists who are trying to get information out there to save lives, and they're being shut down. They're losing their license. It's terrible what's going on.
Yeah. And the name of the book
is How to Control an Entire Planet in 5 Easy Steps.
Are they easy?
Well, it was easy for them, not for us, but it was easy for them because they were so technologically superior. And
we're talking about the aliens.
This race is millions and millions of years old. So of course, but they're fear-based, and that's the problem. And that's where they've been ruling our planet, based on fear. Okay. And they feed off fear and chaos, but their agenda is a lot bigger. They're after our entire planet. They're going to end up leaving our planet like they left Mars, because I found out I had a history there too. And this is probably getting really out there. However, it's all truth. Everything I wrote about, especially things that were kind of out there and totally opposite what society have ever taught us, or religions ever taught us.
Yeah.
It had to go through at least 3 to 4 different validations, and most of it needed to have miracles happen to me to have me believe it. So before I'd start sharing it. So this stuff is all authenticated, as wild as it is. It's the truth about everything, about life, about who we really are, and the easy way and the solutions as to what we can do to change everything. It's all, well, that came from God, and that I quoted God in that one, that part. But this book contains literally everything, and that's why it's getting censored, like you wouldn't believe.
Where can people buy it? Because people are asking.
Well, if you can go to Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and that. If you go to my website, that's the best way to see the links where you can hear about the book, and then click the links and be taken where you can buy it. But the only thing is Amazon.ca Canada. They've gone and they've taken the book from where it was $20, and they've brought it up to $52 to try to discourage sales. So that's one of the things they're doing to try to stop sales or discourage sales. But in the States, I believe you still can get it for the regular prices. And then at Barnes and Nobles and Chapters, you can. But what you do is you go to CD Hill-Lavelle, author.com. So CD Hill-Lavelle, author.com. And that will take you to the website, which explains all about it. And you'll get to see the chapters, because for some people, just a chapter or 2 is really all they need to have a total transformation, change their life. It's amazing how much information is in this book.
Perfect. We'll put those links in. Can we put put those in the comment section so people can see it, at least the name of the book, and they can research?
Yeah, there's my calendar, and there's my 4-year empowerment. Now, the 4-year empowerment, that's where people actually can go. And I need to explain a bit about this too. But they can go there and they can get a free profile. And just by putting in their secret code, they'll see a spot for it. Because I think the question comes up, do you have your free one yet, or whatever? And then you just say no, and then you can apply for one. I just want to caution people, depending on how many people take advantage of the free profile, I do not have it set it up for automatic with the website. So I have to do these manually. So allow me 24 to 48 hours in case there's a lot of people to get these to you. But I'll get a copy to anyone who asks for it.
Perfect. Well, we thank you for that. Okay, Cassie put all the links out there on the chat, so all of that is good. Would you write another book? What do you think?
Well, I have in my head about 2 other books. However, I'm trying to find the easy way to do it, like where I can just talk into something and it'll just print it out rather than having to type it.
There is such a thing.
Well, that's what I had wanted to find out, what program or thing there is without costing too much to do. Because I was going to do like a shorter version of really what's already in this book,
Yeah.
but honing in strictly on the evolutionary part,
Okay.
so that people can focus in on that. Because people don't realize, see, everything boils down to simply the use of fear and love. It really does.
That's
And
it.
the opposite of fear is love. The opposite of love is fear. And as we evolve and go into 5th dimension and higher, there's no fear at all. We are
It's just
controlled
love.
by fear. We've come into 3D existence where there is duality, where there is love and fear,
Yeah.
and we've been controlled by fear. And the majority of the world, and that's why the problems we're having on this planet is because the majority of people are into fear. But people don't know what fear is. Fear is not just what you think fear is. Fear is guilt, it's hate, anger, depression, all the things that make you feel bad, actually,
Yeah.
are all fear-based. Because
Yeah.
if you look at everything, you'll see there's an underlying fear, prejudice, all of it is fear-based. Judgment, it's all fear-based. And as we exercise that, we close ourselves off to all our guides and angels and all the rest. We really have to start loving. And this is why the reason I have honed in on the numerology, because it's a way for people to help to appreciate themselves and to love themselves, because that's your first key. Because if we don't love ourselves, we cannot access our own power potential, and we really don't love God when we don't love ourselves. And we can't love another truly until we love ourselves. So this whole bit with where I do empowerment for everybody, trying to empower them to greatest potential, is all about that. It's all because that's been actually my whole life lessons have all been all about that, is learning to love myself.
Yes.
And when you do, it opens you up to so many talents and so many gifts, self-healing. Like I said, I'm 71. I don't have a health problem. I never got into vaccines or things like that. And I will never have a health problem just because I know, and I talk to my innate every day. And I've been a practicing meditation person for probably the last 35, 40 years too. That kept me from losing it totally when I was working with this organization for stress relief.
Do you teach? Do you do workshops?
I can teach meditation. I can teach, yes. If you go to the calendar, you can see all the things that I can basically teach, but it's not something that I've normally done. I'm doing it like a one-on-one initially. But if I get the opportunity to get out, and I know with COVID, of course, no one could ever go to meetings or things like that. And I've done trade shows now. So I've done a lot live where I've talked about the numerology or whatever. But there's so many areas of things that I can help people with. That's why I ended up creating this calendar so people can see all the things. And whether they get me as in a group session doing something for a bunch of people, or whether I can kind of.
Well, I think it's fascinating. I want to thank you so much for being on the show. Again, if anybody wants a free profile, to go to the foryourimpowerment.com.
Yeah. And they'll see it right away. It'll ask if they've got one, and then just say no, and just give them some time to get one to you. And make sure you give your secret code,
which is your birth date, right?
And it'll say in there, it'll ask for it. And also, of course, your email address that'll ask for as well, so I can email it to you.
All right.
And I want to give kudos to you guys too, because it's just wonderful. I think, anyone like yourself who is out there trying to expose some truth for people and help empower people, it's a wonderful thing. It's so needed.
Well, thank you.
So I kudos to you both.
Thank you. We want to thank all of our loyal listeners who come on every single week. Thank you guys so much. We have a fantastic August coming up. We have a celebrity coming on the show. So I'm just going to drop a little hint. We have a celebrity medium coming on August 24th, I think.
Yes.
Yes. So
We do.
I'm super excited and I'm nervous and all that, but I learned so much today, Cheryl. So I just want to say thank you so much. You know, you've piqued my interest, and I know you probably piqued other people's interest out there. I'll definitely go put my profile thing out there and get one too. I encourage all of our listeners who is listening today to kind of go do that. The more we know, the better we can live. I just think, right?
Yeah.
The better
Very
decisions we can make. And so with that, we're going to end our show tonight. We will see you next time. Again, Cheryl, thank you. You can find me. I'm Tracey Escobar, the Red Couch Medium, on all social media platforms. Cassie, where can they find you?
You can find me at stargazersunite.com. I help everybody with their brands, logos, and websites, and all the techy things.
And then we have all of Cheryl's links in the comments, so y'all go get a reading, go do something. I think it's very enlightening. All right. So we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.